Big news.
Ooh. Lay it on me.
Our troubles are over, and I've found our ticket to the stars.
All right.
You're not going to believe this.
Okay.
All right, so you know I had to take a second job working as a construction worker, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about it all the time.
Well, so we were digging, the foundation of this big high-rise building that's going in, and I came across this little box. I opened it up, and you're not going to believe this. A singing bullfrog was inside. I've got him right here.
You're right. I don't believe you.
He's gonna sing for us now. Go on, sing. No, sing a song now. Sing a song, frog. All right, maybe he's a little shy. It's his first time on a podcast, but
I didn't mean to doubt you, frog. I believe in you.
He was singing. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Come on, do it. Do the Michigan rag.
It's okay. It's all right. I believe in this frog's talent.
He can do a whole repertoire. He's saying, "We are the champions."
That's a cute frog, one way or the other. Whether he can sing or not.
I'm helping him. I'm going to put. Normally, he holds the top hat with one hand. It just keeps falling off here. He's making me look like an idiot.
Yeah, he is.
Do you think I found this little hat and cane? No, they belong to him. He came with the hat and cane.
I wouldn't put it past you to make a little hat
twirling
and
the cane. Look at the stitching on this hat. This is not something that I could have done.
Okay.
I hate this frog.
Do you think if you poke him a little bit, that might help? Yeah, that's not helping.
Poke him with my pocket knife.
Well,
this is bad. I already rented out a theater. I spent my whole life savings.
Okay, that's not good. Is it a situation where I'm making him uncomfortable? Should I leave the room?
Yeah, maybe if you left the podcast for a while, and then we both go away, and then see if he...
Okay, yeah.
All right, we're leaving the podcast.
Yeah.
Damn it!
I didn't really leave.
Yeah.
He's too smart for that.
He knows that he's being recorded.
I figured that a frog was about as smart as a baby, so I thought my peekaboo ploy would work, but...
If you just cover your face with your hands, the frog thinks you're gone.
Yeah, yeah.
In Jurassic Park, they say that T-Rex has the vision like a bullfrog. So if you just hold still around Michigan J. Frog, he'll start singing and dancing. He can't tell you're there anymore.
Yeah.
How funny would it have been? Remember when in the 90s when Michigan J. Frog was like the mascot for the WB network?
I sure do.
What if they'd made him the mascot and then they're like they run the commercial and it's just him going just he's a terrible mascot. That would have been a great little meta joke for the folks over at the WB network to do.
I'm trying to remember the original cartoon. Does he not only not sing, but does he play dead?
No, it's I believe that the whole Michigan J. Frog cartoon is supposed to be kind of a profound metaphor for technology and home automation. Because you bring people over to your house and you're like, look at this. I got this new You just hit this button and the movie screen comes right down out of the ceiling, and then this one remote controls everything in the house, and then it never works whenever anybody comes
Mm-hmm.
over. You get it all set up ahead of time, like, oh man, I'm gonna turn on the fireplace here, and I can go. I have all my movies set to stream from my hard drive to the TV, and then the first time you're entertaining guests, none of that shit works. You're like, what is TCP/IP? What happened? Why is nothing? My network devices are gone. I think that's what it is. But it's the man. He finds the singing frog, and the frog sings several old vaudeville hits, and he dances with a top hat and cane. And then he goes to like a talent agent and shows him the frog. And when he opens it up, it's just a frog, and he goes. He makes the ribbit noise, and he gets thrown out. And every time he tries to show the frog to someone, it doesn't work. But then when he's alone with the frog is like, everybody do the Michigan rag. And then eventually he goes insane because the frog is gaslighting him.
Yeah.
And he buries the frog in the foundation of the building.
Okay.
And then a futuristic version of him does the exact same thing, finds the frog and thinks he's going to become rich because he has a singing frog. But he has
burying him in the floorboards, is that like a telltale heart sort of thing? Do you think he can still hear him doing the Michigan rag under there and it's driving him nuts?
You just hear the frog tap dancing through the floor.
Yeah. And his weird old roommate, he knows.
The old man with the one weird eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a never-ending cycle of the frog being buried under the foundation of an old building and then being discovered. It is shocking, though, that in the future they have like a construction worker who just disintegrates buildings with a ray gun.
Mm-hmm.
But that guy is still impressed by a singing bullfrog. I feel
that is true, and he also maintains all the stereotypes of 1960s construction workers with the cat calling.
Yeah, he has a hard hat, but it has a little antenna on top.
Yeah,
and then he has
does he have his pale lunch on the girders of the building?
Yeah.
He's disintegrating.
He has a little thermos, but it has little rings around it, like a. Anyways, do you have an idea for a podcast?
I do, and this one's called "Every Day's a Holiday," because every day, if you don't have really high standards, is a holiday.
I think that you mean like every day is a holiday. Like if your threshold for relaxation is low enough.
No, I mean more in the sense that just about every day has been labeled a holiday. Like, for example...
Oh, good.
We're recording this on June 11th, which I have June 12th up. So tomorrow, I'm not going to tell you the ones from today because it's too late. But tomorrow is National Loving Day. But it's also Child Labor Day. Also International Falafel Day. And National Children's Day. But get back to work, kids. Also National Jerky Day. Peanut Butter Cookie Day. Red Rose Day. Orthodox Pentecost Sunday. Philippines Independence Day. That's kind of low down on the list. I don't know how jerky beat out the Philippine Independence Day.
Well, I think I know how child labor beat out Philippine independence.
And there are more. Raggedy Ann and Andy Day.
Oh.
Like it's, some important stuff.
So what if we came up with a new holiday that just encompassed all of those traditions, much in the same way that the Roman emperors of Christendom We're like, listen, all these holidays, now they're all one big thing. Jesus, but there's a bunny or a tree. We're just going to kind of mash them up. So we have like child laborers dressed like Raggedy Ann and Andy, and they're double fisting a peanut butter cookie and a beef jerky.
Mm-hmm. And some falafel.
On a falafel. Yeah. We
Yeah.
make a terrible falafel. We call it Awful Falafel Day.
You know, falafel, and I get the same way with hush puppies and falafel. Just how they look to me make me think about the perfect little balls that dung beetles make out of poop.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I eat them, even though I like both of them, I'm just like, it's some beetle poop spheres for me.
Look at that. You know, I read that those beetles, they navigate using the moon.
I thought that they toucan Sam'd it, just followed their nose.
Oh, I think like once they're rolling the ball of dung, not. Although maybe, who knows? Maybe the moon leads you to dung. I've never tried. I'm on my way. The moon comes out. I'm like a werewolf, but for poop. You see oh, it's a full moon. Everyone flush your toilets.
Yeah. Make a mess out of the kitty litter box.
The beetle man.
Every time there's a full moon.
He's coming. He'll be at our door soon. Just frantically plunging. The beetle man is on his way.
Isn't it like a situation where you have to just leave one turd outside your front door?
Yeah, you just leave it out there.
Passed over.
I kind of imagine like a superhero costume, but it doesn't feel like that. I mean, a guy who just shows up at your house for your poop doesn't feel like a superhero to me. It's more like just a shit Urkel.
Yeah.
Like he just shows, he kicks in the door, got any dung? You're like, oh, no.
It was really helpful back before we had indoor plumbing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the shit Urkels used to live high on the hog. A really important job that they carry out. And we appreciate and we salute you, shit Urkels.
Ugh. There's like just a swarm of them all come out once a month. Here come the dung Urkels. They're just here.
Yeah, and then the toilet came out, and all the shit Urkels would still leave their house and wander the streets because they were too ashamed to let their families know that nobody wanted to give them their poop anymore.
Yeah, there's like old-timey photographs, sepia tone photographs. There's one actually in the opening credits to Cheers. You can see it's just a bunch of shit Urkels in line for a soup kitchen. Or rather, a shit kitchen. Just sadly on the street corner, you're walking by. You're trying to ignore him. He's like, "You got any dung?" They're just they're all rolling their balls of shit across the plains to flee the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
That's every day is a holiday.
and I realize I probably shouldn't have done Sunday. I'm just going to let the listeners know if they're listening to this on Monday when the podcast comes out, it is International Community Association Managers Day, National Sewing Machine Day, Holy Spirit Monday, International Albinism Awareness Day.
Oh, no.
National Kitchen Klutzes of America Day, National Weed Your Garden Day, Random Acts of Light Day, World Softball Day, and Steve-O's birthday.
Steve-O, the jackass man?
Yes.
I like the National Albinism Awareness Day.
Yeah.
Because I don't keep tabs on those guys enough. I need to know where they are. I don't want them sneaking up on me.
To be fair, when I'm in close proximity, I'm usually pretty aware of
Yeah.
albinism.
It's just a day where,
But polite about it.
yeah.
Like I you know.
Also, this is another one we don't need to for the kitchen klutzes and albinos. They're famously very, very poor eyesighted people. They're probably making up a good portion of the kitchen klutzes.
Yeah. Are you saying that if I feel like I'm in danger when I'm in the kitchen with a person with albinism, I should just stay very still because they have bullfrog eyes?
Yeah, they're, I mean, yeah, I guess bullfrog eyes is a good way to put it.
All right, fair enough.
I would
You learn something new every
I would
holiday.
stay quiet, stay still, but also don't keep your eyes on them because they are going to accidentally, pour vinegar into the pancake mix. They can't tell what's what around there. They're liable to accidentally put Urkel's dung into your spaghetti.
Yeah. That's the thing with shit Urkels. They can't wait to get their hands on that doo-doo, but once they have it, they don't know what to do with it. Leaving bedpans all around the house.
Like a dog chasing a car.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have an idea for a podcast.
Okay.
This one's called An Actual Card Game.
Whoa.
And this is because we did an episode a while back where we tried to make a Kickstarter. I don't know if you remember that episode.
It sounds familiar. What were we?
We pitched a card game to Kickstarter, and the idea that we came up with was just selling someone a deck of completely blank cards and calling it like an open source card game.
Ah, yes, I do remember this.
Well, I am sad to announce that Kickstarter rejected our idea.
Oh, no.
They did so almost immediately, but I never remembered to bring it up again. But then I thought, what if we came up with an actual card game?
Okay. I like cards.
I mean, yeah. And I was thinking maybe we do the opposite of what we did before. Instead of doing like a really minimalist kind of zero effort card game, what if we created the most difficult card game of all time? People love that shit. People love a card game where there's like so many rules and the rules are constantly changing, like Magic the Gathering. You'll be like, I got this great card. And they're like, that card doesn't work anymore. Throw it in the garbage. We could make it.
I like when the cards actually have a rule that once they're used, they must be destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a great way to continue making money because they're usually really powerful.
I've played a board game where there are cards that you have to tear up once you use them, and then there's like the board, you put like stickers on the board. It's like they're just making you ruin the board game. I'm like, I reckon there's a way that we could do this and not have to destroy the game that cost like $800 or something like that. It was an insane board game. And then I was busy and couldn't play with everybody for a couple of weeks. And then when I came back, they were like, oh, we let somebody else have your guy. And then he got poisoned. Anyways, how was your trip to, was it to visit your grandfather? Yes, in a manner of speaking, we buried him. So
yeah.
Now I have to grieve not only my grandfather, but also Pete Sweenus, the rat wizard, the character that I made up.
Yeah, I mean that's your grandpa died, your board game character died, and you now knew that those friends would stab you in the back at a moment's notice.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if that's stabbing in the back. It's very important that they keep that board game going, and they did spend a lot of money on it. They're just
Okay,
gonna
well,
stop just because Pete
you weren't
Sweeney
in
can't
the
join the party for
yeah.
a couple of
Okay,
weeks.
it wasn't a situation where you chipped in to get the ridiculous board game.
No,
You were just reaping the
I was
benefits.
just a mooch, just a
Okay.
board game mooch. But so let me ask you how you feel about this. What if we made a board game where the rules were different every time,
Mm-hmm.
and the rules were also occluded? So this would be how we continue to make money off of this board game, is that every day we come up with a different set of rules for the game, and then you have to pay the subscription service to be able to score. So you're like, you're just taking shots in the dark at what's going to work and what's not. And if you find
Mm-hmm.
something that works, you keep doing it. But the only way to know if it works or not is to check. Like, we have an app on the phone. So you're like, well, so my deck is, I have an Alf trading card, and I have a Dikembe Mutombo card where he's doing the finger wag, and then I have the Ace of Spades. And we're like, oh, you know what? You got a real good hand there. Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be 1,000 points. And they're like, okay, so I know that one of those things must have been good, or maybe a combination of two of those things. But how?
Actually, it wasn't that great because Dikembe Mutombo and the Ace of Spades cancel each other out.
Yeah. So you actually could have had a way stronger hand if you'd known that the Alf trading card was overpowered, and only it got nerfed by Dikembe Mutombo and the Ace of Spades.
I mean, just think about it. Alf gets along with everybody. Ace of Spades, you're probably thinking Motorhead.
Mm-hmm.
Huge fans of Alf. So is Dikembe Mutombo. But, sometimes the friends of your friends won't be your friends. They don't like you. That's the case with Dikembe Mutombo and Motorhead.
Yeah. So you can use any cards you like. You don't have to buy the cards from us. Just any cards. All we do.
Oh, okay.
You could just bring your cards, any cards. They could be old credit cards. But every day, we have made up a different rule for how the game is won. And you just have to submit to us like what you've done, and then we score it. But you have to pay for the subscription to the app to play the card game. And you're going to be like, I'll play this game every day. I'm so crazy about it. I don't have to buy any cards or nothing. You get the card game fever. And then you know what happens. It falls off. Somebody has to go bury their grandfather. You don't play for a few days. You're still paying for the app. You forget it's on there. We're just taking a little nibble out of your checking account every month. The card game fad dies off, but we keep reaping the benefits.
I don't mind having a game scoring center where we can both be gainfully employed scoring people's game, but if they don't know as they're playing what they're doing, like
you have to.
I can see how it would work if we provided the cards and knew what the large deck of cards were, but I don't know how we can plan for the many contingencies of what cards people have in their own homes.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that the best way is that this card game would only have like at most 5 rules per day. Okay. And it would be like, maybe you could just say like, whoever has the most red on their cards.
Okay.
And so you just take a picture of your hand and you submit it. And we don't even have to look at that. Like a computer is just like scanning, and it's like, yes, this person had the most red. They win. And then you're like, I wonder why I won. You play another hand, you lose. You play another hand, you win. You're just watching for the pattern of what the rule is for today. Too many faces, you lose. Well, this guy's just got a bunch of the cards with the rules for how to play blackjack.
Yeah.
He's the winner. Today's rule
But
was no
will it be
faces.
such that they somehow get through the game and then send us in a large manila envelope all of the moves that they have made, and then we 2 to 3 weeks later we'll send them back the results of the game?
Oh no, this would be an app. So you just take a photo of your hand and your
Ah,
friend's hand, and then our computer analyzes and tells them which hand won, and then you move on. And maybe we do like the jumble or the times, and we publish the answers the next day. So people are like, oh, it was alphabetical order scoring yesterday. Well, that makes sense.
okay. That is now as far as the game goes. You said there would be like 5 rules. Like, is there a game that will provide the bones of this card game? Like, is this a Go Fish? Is this a Gin Rummy? Is this a poker?
I would say that we could just keep it simple and make it like war.
Okay.
That way you have, but you can do it with like, can you do war with more than 2 people? Yeah, I guess you can, right? Just the highest card wins.
Yeah,
So
I've never done it with more than 2 people, but it might
I,
make it slightly
I
more
reckon that
enjoyable.
it probably goes faster when you have more people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so this would be
Unless you're like just insane and you're like, we're gonna play war, but we're doing it with 10 decks.
yeah.
Gather around. This is gonna take a
So
while.
that's exactly what we're doing. Is that we're doing war, but you can do any card in existence, not just playing cards. And the rules are different for what's good and what's bad, and we
Yeah.
add a couple of modifiers. So maybe like if it were the thing where uh it's whichever cards have the most red visible on them, then we have like a modifier where if someone has a card that is 90% blue for some reason, like if they just have their Chase credit card in the deck and that one comes up, then that cancels out the red, and then the person who has the most orange wins that round. So just little modifiers in there to make it more interesting, because war,
Mhm.
it's just this or it's not this. But we have some if this then that things going on in the mix too.
That's very exciting. What appeals to me about this isn't so much I would probably never play the game, but trying to compile like the giant encyclopedia of all cards and statistics of said cards
Oh yeah, yeah.
would be the sort of thing that I would waste my life on. Just continually every month publishing a new Beckett of every card.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just an old Dave and Buster's card. It's in there. Oh, that's a good
Mhm.
one. You know all about these were the old ones before they put the
Yeah.
magnetic stripe on the back. These actually used a barcode. Anyways, that's an actual card game. I feel like we got really into that one and we talked about it quite a bit. Do you have another idea?
I do. This one is the original Kings of Podcasting, which I stole this idea from the original Kings of Comedy. But to be fair, comedy had been going on for a long time before they
The
named
original
themselves the
Kings showed
original
up.
Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wondered why they called it that. Was there like a Ghostbusters type situation where there had been like a very shitty TV show called The Kings of Comedy that then they like had the rights to that name and couldn't there was another Kings of Comedy, and they had a gorilla driving them around in like an old Model T.
Well, gorillas do equal comedy, you know.
The Kings of
It-
yeah.
but I do like the idea that that movie was very, very successful. It made good money at the box office, but then just got played on television for like the next decade every day. and then there was a multiple palette swap remakes. Like they did the Blue Collar Comedy Tour and the Latin Kings of Comedy, and it was like its own weird little industry of, can you find 4 comedians who are popular but not popular enough to have their stand-up be shown in a movie theater?
You warrant their own thing by themselves.
Yeah.
You're just going to throw 4 of them together. It's a pretty good idea. Yeah. Yeah, that...
Which I don't know if we would need to get 2 more, because there is like a sort of the way it breaks down. I'm trying to remember who the Latin Kings of Comedy are, but I feel like they really tried with the Blue Collar Comedy to have a 1-to-1.
They did.
Sort of like,
yeah.
You've got Cedric the Entertainer becomes Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah. He's the... Yeah. So
and then you've got the one guy who had the sitcom for several years and is probably the biggest name.
Bill Engvall.
Oh, no, I meant Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh, Jeff Foxworthy.
And Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
And then you've got the slightly younger guy who also has a sitcom, and that's Bill Engvall and D.L. Hughley.
And then you have just
and
the absolute...
And then you've got the best one.
The fucking monster. The guy who could never have a sitcom, or so you'd think.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just me saying that I love Bernie Mac and I like Ron White.
Yeah, both great. Yeah, like did not belong on those shows.
No, did not quite belong.
Could they were carrying the whole damn thing. The original kings of podcasting. So we need someone who is like a new podcaster, and then someone who is way more talented than us.
Yeah, I would say that's what we need.
Do you think Marc Maron is available? It's just the 2 of us, and then like a guy who has just started a pod. One of those Acast podcasts that's like 15 minutes long. It's just like, hey everybody, thanks for tuning into my podcast. We're gonna just talk about whatever's on our minds. So stick with me. It's gonna be fun. And then that's the only episode that he ever records. So we get one of those guys, and then and then Marc Maron.
Let's do it.
Just we're swinging for the fences on this one. And then the format is it's just a podcast. I guess that is like the Kings of Comedy. They didn't like. There's no storyline. They just theatrically released like 2 hours of stand-up by 4 comedians. So it would just be like a longer format podcast.
It was just 4 guys who they're like, don't do premium blend. Take your half an hour. Well, Spike Lee wants to make a movie.
Yeah. Oh, can we get... I guess... Who would be the Spike Lee of podcasting?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Scott Aukerman
possibly
just have him produce it.
Is that usually you have an editor, but I've never heard of a podcast director. But it sounds like a great cushy job.
Yeah, just and action.
Hour later, that's a wrap.
Great job, everybody. The podcasters all head back to their trailers. All right, we're just going to do one more from the top. Just making them do multiple takes of the podcast.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a perfectionist, a visionary perfectionist podcast director.
You're sitting in the editing booth all night with the editor, just listening to it. And then you're going back and playing the dailies for your cast of podcasters.
Yeah. Go Stanley Kubrick or Terrence Malick with it and just like drop one episode every decade.
We're just fucking with Shelley Duvall. Like, oh, Shelley, your mic's off again. We didn't get any of that stuff you said. And then just playing loud feedback in her headphones. making her
Mm-hmm.
cry. People are like, it's the most incredible podcast I've ever heard. Shelley Duvall is like, you can hear like she's actually crying the whole podcast. They're the greatest podcast directors of all time. They're just abusing people.
Only Shelley Duvall.
Hey, he really abused the hell out of Tom Cruise too.
Did he?
Oh yeah, on Eyes Wide Shut, he would like make Tom Cruise do a very simple take, like walking through a door like 100 times, and he wouldn't let him anywhere near the set when he filmed that sex scene with Nicole Kidman. Like he was actively trying to fuck up Tom Cruise's life. He kept filming for like 3 years so that Tom Cruise couldn't sign on to do any other big films. Probably the greatest thing he ever did was just try and ruin Tom Cruise's life.
That's it's.
Oh, he wouldn't let Tom Cruise watch it.
I love that movie.
He wouldn't let Tom Cruise watch any of the dailies, so he didn't have any context for the lines he was delivering. He wasn't sure how to say them, which if you watch that movie, it's very clear. Like Tom Cruise gives such a weird wooden performance because he's very confused about what's going on in the story. Like he wouldn't let him know.
Yeah, but at the same time, Tom Cruise exudes confidence in almost all of his movies. So anytime he makes a movie where he's not a crazy confident character, I give him bonus points.
Yeah, like, that's exactly what Kubrick was trying to break Cruise down so that he wasn't a confident, cool guy.
Yeah.
And he did.
And usually people say his best performance is Magnolia, and it's like both of those things.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
He gets, yeah.
All right, I have another idea.
Get to let him be like a fancy, super excited guy and then kick him in the balls and make him cry. That's a good Tom Cruise movie for you. Go ahead, another idea.
My idea is a podcast called MythBoosters.
And
this would be the opposite of MythBusters. This is where we try to prove, I guess we don't prove, we just agree with a myth. Every week we take a myth and then we're like, oh, yeah, that seems plausible. We don't actually like put the science to it. Or maybe we pretend to sometimes if it's in our best interest. But we're just promoting false information. This is definitely going to get us kicked off of Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, like, is this going to, are we going to do the sorts of things that the MythBusters do? Or are we going to do more like the stuff that people selling supplements on television do?
I would say a little from column A and a little from column B. Maybe we're like, I mean, people love the stuff that the MythBusters do, and whether it helps what we're actually trying to accomplish or not, I don't see why we couldn't just blow up a dummy or like crash a car into a brick wall. Because that's going to get the butts in the seats. So maybe, we just like shoot. We have a big guy made out of ballistics gel, and then we shoot him with a bazooka. And then we, we're all clapping, and the dust is settling. We take off the goggles, and then we say, anyways, yes, the Hunter Biden laptop is real. Or not, depending on who's paying our checks. That's MythBoosters.
MythBoosters.
Yeah. Or we could just be like, I saw the famous wood booger.
Oh, you're not the only one.
We've all seen the wood booger. He's out here.
I've seen him up close enough that I could sniff him.
He smelled like boogers.
It's but a slightly different type of booger than what I'm normally.
This was not a man booger. This was a booger of some other origin.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, if you don't know, the wood booger is our local Bigfoot in Kentucky.
Yeah. He's got a sulfurous smell.
Mm-hmm. It's just, I saw him. You know what? I saw him, and he had one of those bags of boiled eggs from the gas station,
Oh yeah,
where it's just a plastic bag with some boiled eggs floating in a liquid. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
That might be why he always has that sulfurous odor.
Mm. Why do you think that nobody's Bigfoot variants have naturally curly hair?
Oh, what if you found a Bigfoot that had like really, really straight hair, like Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye? Just, you just see.
I think that
it's queer Bigfoot just doing his self-care routine with a hairbrush and a blow dryer.
maybe we might have stumbled upon the most successful reality show of all time, Queer Eye for the
Queer
Bigfoot.
Eye for the Bigfoot.
Who's not in that Venn diagram? So
I'm just picturing them like,
yeah,
he comes back. They've got him. They've like they gave him a blowout, so his hair is really nice, and then they bring him back to his cave, and they've like completely remodeled it.
mm-hmm.
And then they always have to do some other thing like, oh, and we also bought you this vintage Triumph motorcycle, so you don't have to walk everywhere. Bigfoot's crying.
And then there's an after show where some Real Housewives and some ghosts have watched the show, and they're going to comment about it.
The Real Housewives are like the ones from other spooky housewives, like the lady with the ribbon around her neck.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking they were just regular Real Housewives, but the ghosts are their deceased husbands.
Oh.
That are haunting them now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the hotline.
All righty.
Folks, if you have an idea for a podcast, you can reach out to us at our email, we don't have a podcast yet, at gmail.com, or you can call us and leave a message at the podcast hotline. That's 702-PODCASP, 702-PODCASP. Leave us a voicemail like this one.
Hi, I saw a tweet this morning about a guy who, in his performance review at work, they said that he had calculated mediocrity. And I just think that's really funny, and maybe that could be the name of a podcast. Bye.
Calculated mediocrity. Feels a little too on the nose for what we're doing here.
That it's pretty perfect. I think we could if we weren't as aspirational as we are, that could be just the name of this brainstorming podcast.
Yes, I mean it hits a little too close to home. Sick burn though in a job interview. Yeah. I want to know more about what happened to this guy. Did he say? Did they say it was a review or an interview for a job? I didn't catch the context.
They said it was a job. It was a performance review.
That makes more sense because you'd have to really be like laying it on thick for someone, a prospective employer, to catch on. Like that's on you, buddy. Like if you can't put out the false excitement that you need for a job interview. Oh yeah. Oh, I can't wait to be a part of the Wendy's family.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I have been there. I've had that job review before, and it's the point where I'm like, I know this is going nowhere. Mm-hmm. If you don't like it, fire me. Yeah. I know you don't have, you're giving me my review, but unless I,
pardon me,
do something violent or unless I do something really bad, you can't fire me.
Yeah. Calculated mediocrity.
And I know that exceeding expectations leads to nothing good either.
Yeah, yeah, it's not. We could also actually calculate mediocrity. Like try and find the most middle of the road. This could be like a pop culture thing where we every week we try and come up with what the most mediocre thing.
The frustrating thing, like we're talking about mediocre like it's a negative thing. I feel like in a whole lot of instances, mediocrity is exactly what you're going for.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, we bag on it a lot, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a great example of calculated mediocrity being wildly successful.
It is, yeah. It's just given it's dog food for people.
That's not fair. Dog food makes its own gravy.
It's true, but do any of the... They should have a hero that makes their own gravy. That's a power that hasn't been explored.
Well, actually, what he does is he blasts a fine powder of bouillon upon the enemy, and then he's got a partner who douses them with warm water.
Yeah. And then there's like also like, you know how there's like the like Captain Russia or whatever, like the... What they could have like the Borscht man who he has like a red...
Can it be the Borscht belt?
The Borscht belt, and he has like a belt that gives him his powers.
Yeah. Ooh. He's just got all the spices and stuff that you need to make a good soup in his...
I think Borscht is just like beets and cabbage. It's a pretty disappointing...
Yeah.
I mean, it's the official soup of Siberia, so that ought to tell you something.
It is one of the rare foods that I've been aware of for decades that I've never tried.
Oh.
Have you had borscht?
I have.
I've had the opportunity to have it like 2 or 3 times, and I'm just always like, no.
You don't hear people talk. Nobody's like, oh, borscht. People don't go crazy for borscht.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think because it's like a peasant dish, but then look at what they did with ratatouille in the movie Ratatouille. Maybe you could, like, you know, dress it up. Make it the most amazing experience. And this is where our new movie idea comes in. Borscht. And it's about a boar who wants to be a chef.
And he crawls up. Is he gonna sit underneath the world's largest, what are those called, toques?
Maybe he's like in the chef's shirt and he's just got his arms through the sleeves, you know. Or maybe it's just like he has like a headset and the boar is in like a panel van outside the restaurant just telling the chef what to do instead of because the hair pulling thing is ridiculous. It has to be more believable, like a pig in a panel van doing like a hidden camera prank show.
And then you get to make sequels to your pig in a panel van, like maybe he's a hostage negotiator now. Pig in a Panel Van 2. Negotiator.
Pig in a Panel Van 3.
Babe, pig in a panel van in the city.
Pig in a panel van, internal affairs. All right, that's calculated mediocrity. And we got way too out there for it to be mediocre there at the end. Let's ask the Podtron for some help.
Okay.
The Podtron 4500 is an artificial intelligence. We train it by giving it a list of the most popular podcasts on the charts, and then it analyzes those names and generates a list of new podcast titles that could possibly be jumping off points for our perfect podcast. Titles like In the Dark, an accidental murder mystery. People love murder as long as it's not happening to them.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the one catch. People don't know. There's a reason why no one is doing a podcast, a true crime podcast called I Am Going to Murder You and then name here. Although maybe that's an idea. I think we would have to pick either a name that no one has or a name that many people have.
Yeah. I would suggest picking a very common name and then not dropping enough information so that they know for sure it's them, but they're just all looking out.
We are going to murder you, John Smith.
Yeah.
And then here the cops.
Sooner or later,
the cops
you're
show
gonna
up
get
at
yours,
our house.
Johnny boy.
They're like, "You're under the arrest." It's an Italian guy. Yeah. You're under the arrest.
You're under the arrest.
I'm gonna put you under the arrest. Come si dice the arrest.
The head of time crimes. You are gonna kill a John Smith.
It's time crime, but they're arresting us for the death of John Smith, from Pocahontas,
and from actual history.
Right, I meant
a real person.
I meant the story of Pocahontas, not the Disney. I mean, look, I don't want to get put in jail for reverse time crime and sued by the largest corporation in the world. And then they'll have us in court for the Pocahontas thing, and they'll be like, also their character Borscht Belt infringes on a character that we own the rights to. His name was Soup Bandolier.
Yeah.
Shoot,
I mean, that's two. I think that these guys might be the real original kings of comedy.
So, In the Dark, an accidental murder mystery. How do we do an accidental murder mystery?
Maybe In the Dark, like it's a mystery, but the killer wanted everybody to know, but the power went out at an inopportune time. And then it shot back on, and they're like, "Oh, who could have done this?" And John Smith's over there going like, "Fuck." Well, I guess I'll just try to get away with it now. I thought you'd all be impressed.
Oh, I think you're onto something here. What if it would almost be like a reverse murder mystery. So one person is the murderer, and you play like these games like, Mafia or whatever. And you have like everyone covers their eyes, and then the one person who is the murderer like raises their hand or something, or you like point to the person who's the murderer, and then everyone uncovers their eyes, and then you're all trying to figure out who it is. This would be the opposite. So everyone covers their eyes, and then they keep them covered. And so then they're trying to figure out how they're in the dark, and they're trying to figure out who's the killer. But then you say, okay, now everyone uncover your eyes, and then the murderer. No, wait, that doesn't work. Shit. That's just, you don't ever uncover your eyes. You have no information, so you're just flying blind trying to figure out who the murderer is, but the murderer just keeps killing. I don't know how this works. Maybe we're enabling a murderer here.
We could go Children of a Lesser God with it, and instead of it being at a school for the deaf, it's a school for the blind that has a murderer.
Mm-hmm. Do we still get to do that hot sex scene in the pool?
I mean, sure.
That is in that movie, right?
That sounds familiar. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
That's the only thing I remember about that movie is that there are some titties in it. Yeah. I'm making a note to myself to cut that out.
And it would work.
If that's not actually in Children of a Lesser God, I just sound like an idiot.
But that would work as a podcast. Like, I think that is a good podcast murder mystery that we could do.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work because you couldn't make a film about it because you could see everything that's happening.
Yeah,
it needs to be an audio only.
So maybe it's not completely an accident. It's not an accidental murder mystery. Or maybe the people just they're all dying by accident.
Yeah. Well, you start out with one person dead, and they're trying to figure out how this happened. It could have been an accident.
Yeah.
But is it?
What one of us wrote down all the ways that everyone's going to die by accident. So like, while it is an accident, like one of us is God, and this is the murder mystery where you kill God.
So it's like a JRPG murder mystery.
That's In the Dark, an accidental murder mystery. Do you have one?
I do. This one's called Shanghai Little, which from when I grew up, both the Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights movie series was going on, and at the same time Stuart Little was going on. I think this might be a thought experiment if they'd cross those two franchises over. And just gonna say, I haven't seen enough Jackie Chan lately. Haven't heard enough Michael J. Fox lately.
Boy, I've always been impressed with the naming convention of the Shanghai Noon franchise. Like, Shanghai Noon is such a great title for a movie about like a martial arts guy who comes to the Old West. But then Shanghai Nights is such a good play on the first title, and it still makes sense because they just go to England. But
Shanghai Little does not continue the cleverness of this. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like there's still something you could do there, but they don't.
It would be better if it was Little Shanghai.
Little Shanghai, I guess. Little China. You could just call it Little China.
Yeah, but then you got Stuart Little in there too, and all of a sudden he knows how to do martial arts.
What if it was called Little Trouble in Big China and Stuart Little goes to China? He has to help Jackie Chan. It's the third Stuart Little movie and the third Shanghai Noon movie, and it's called Little Trouble in Big China. And maybe we get Kurt Russell in there too, reprising his role as Jack Burton, driver of the Pork Chop Express.
And the not at all difficult to work with Kim Cattrall can come back to.
Ooh, yeah, she's she could ruin my movie any day. All right, I got another idea here.
Okay.
This one's called The Mothership.
All right.
And
is this a P-Funk podcast?
It could be. That would be difficult. Neither one of us has the funk.
No, we don't.
We'd have to fake the funk. And not just on a nasty dunk.
I think I've heard that you can't fake the funk.
I've heard, yeah, I have heard tell. I've heard tell you can't fake the funk. Just an old prospector. You boys you better not be going up there to fake the funk. That's what it's the mothership. It's a ship, but your mom is in charge of the ship, which is just,
Is faking
Are
the
you
funk
boys
like
in there
trying
faking
to...
the funk? No!
I think it's like trying to sell someone a kilo of baking soda.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's we just put an effect on our voices to make us sound like aliens, but then we're just saying things that a mom would say.
Okay.
So we just add like that, like the old 50s flying saucer sound effect, theremin music going, and then this, booming alien voice is like, "How do those pants fit? Is there enough room in the crotch?" That would be the most horrifying alien invasion movie ever. The Mothership. "I ran into your principal at the grocery store today. I told him he should stop by for your birthday party." No, Mothership, no! "I'm just so proud of my special guy." Anyway, you got another one?
Yeah, I do. This one is Into the Dark with the Ghost Inside.
Oh.
Which made me think about ghosts in a way that I'd never have really before. Because I've always thought, like, I die, and then there's just a version of me that is ghostly. But what if the ghost is trapped inside of a meat cage?
I guess it is. I'd always just kind of thought of it like a metamorphosis,
Mm-hmm.
But no, the body does not transform into a ghost. The ghost just leaves the body.
No. Get cracked open like a sunflower seed, and then there's a good little bit of ghost meat in there.
There's like you have like a bubble that pops and the ghost gets out. Maybe it just like leaks out of you. I guess that sneezing, that's what it is, right? The ghost comes out your nose. And that's why people say bless you, to scare the ghost back in.
Yeah.
Into the dark.
And that's why your nose creates ectoplasm.
Yeah. It's actually Slimer's slime. That's what Boogers is.
Mm-hmm. Get back in there, Slimer!
So Into the Dark with the ghost inside is just a journey into the nose, I guess. Up there into the dark booger cave.
Yeah, but it's going to be kind of like the magic school bus. You know how they'll go into a place that's really small or really far away you can't go to. It's not normally safe. But this is going to be Miss Frizzle and the gang going up into the nose and ghost hunting with science.
Oh my God. AJ.
What?
This is the last one.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the list, and I think that this might be the only one that is feasible to do, is the one where we just magic school bus into a nose.
What are you talking about?
Oh. I mean, MythBoosters and Every Day's a Holiday are...
Those were the two that I was going to say we were the doable ones.
But, yeah, I guess... We could also just magic school bus into a nose.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna stump for the Every Day's a Holiday one, because there is like a list of 10 holidays on every single day, so we'll have 10 things to talk about in that one, and not
okay,
one thing that we're hemmed into.
All right, fine. We're doing the holiday one. And for some reason, I am kind of sad to learn that we're not doing the one where we pretend to go on a magical journey into a booger nose
to hunt ghosts.
We're in here we're looking at what's that little?
Though to be fair, that does dovetail nicely with MythBoosters.
Yeah, we flew up into Marco's nose to look for his soul. Miss Frizzle's like, the ancient Egyptians believed that the soul is in the nose. Now let's go. All right. So, folks, we didn't do our normal thing where we read them all off, but we have chosen Every Day's a Holiday will be our podcast. You can catch the first episode over at patreon.com/we don't have a podcast yet. Sign up to support the show and you'll get access not only to the weekly attempt at a podcast, but also an entire, 2 years worth at least of failed attempts at a podcast.
More than that.
They're all good. We're just perfectionists.
Yeah.
That's what's going. So head on over there.
As soon as we get a Shelley Duvall
we gotta find our own Shelley Duvall to gaslight and abuse, and then we'll have our podcast. So head over there. You can follow us on Instagram. Call into the podcast hotline. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends about the show. We love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Winchester Cathedral, you're bringing me down. You stood and you watched as my baby left town. You could have done something, but you didn't try. You didn't do nothing. You
my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.